Lashes and skincare for the Talk365 team is provided by Aesthetics Plus of Utah.
And welcome back to Talk 365. I'm Trip Mitchell. That is Holly Love.
And coming at you right now is Small Talk. Now, this is a segment that we started about a year ago for University Credit Union for their small business loan division, where I have an opportunity to go out and talk with small businesses that are just getting started. Some of them, of course, got their loans from University Federal Credit Union, and a lot of them didn't. It's just a way that University allows me to go out and meet some really amazing local businesses. And this one was with CousCous. Now, they've been open a year, so this was a little while ago. They are in Sugar House, but they are one of my favorites. So this is a little bit of like a throwback. Check it out. I love this restaurant. You should get in there.
Talk365 Small Talk is brought to you by University Credit Union.
Hey everybody, welcome to Small Talk, where I get the opportunity to get out and talk to small business owners. And today I am at CousCous Express in Sugar House with Angela and Dominic McKenzie. You guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
It's just heating up. It is about dinner time, and you guys are taking on an interview. I so appreciate it. But Angela, let's start with you because you have a rich history in the restaurant business, and I want you to tell me about it.
Well, my mother owned a restaurant in Trinidad. We're of East Indian descent, so she cooked a lot of Trinidad food. Caribbean cuisine is what we call it. And it was a lot of stews and curries, and it was a blend because in the Caribbean we have a blend of people from India and Africa and everywhere else. So it was a huge blend. And then when I moved here, I ended up marrying a restaurateur.
Of course that's what happens.
Whose mother owned a restaurant?
Whose mother also owned a restaurant. Yes, his mother owned a restaurant downtown in the 50s. And so he ended up owning CousCous Kitchen, which used to be 5 restaurants in Salt Lake Valley. And out of the 5, he ended up with 1 as he got older, and that was in Holiday. And we eventually sold that.
And how long were you in Holiday with that restaurant?
He owned it for about 40 years.
Wow.
When I met him, he had already owned it for many, many years.
And what was the name of the mother's restaurant?
It was Mackenzie's Cafe.
Mackenzie's Cafe.
In downtown on 3rd West.
Oh, how fun. And then your husband's restaurant was?
CousCous Kitchen.
CousCous Kitchen. How very cool. So now I imagine that you grew up helping your grandmother?
My mother.
Your mother, your grandmother.
Right.
You grew up helping her, I assume?
Yes, I did. Many evenings, being in the Caribbean, we would close the restaurant and then we would just be walking home like 11 o'clock at night. So it just was real happy memories because there would be a whole bunch of young kids who would hang out there and escort us home. So it was really nice. It was fun.
Oh, how cool. And I'm sure you had a very similar growing up process, being roped into working in your dad's kitchen.
Yeah, there's no getting away from it. There's no getting away from it in the restaurant business. Yeah, of course you grow up around it. You have to you help out there, but then you start to get a love of food, and that's where that's where they get you.
I know, you said you were thinking you weren't going to go there,
right?
And then look, sucked back in.
Yeah, and also a love of service too. The more you do it, the more you it kind of gets in your blood, and you really realize that you actually love serving people. You love making people happy. I tell our staff all the time that one of my greatest pleasures is having a first timer come in here, or somebody who's kind of doubtful because they don't see the traditional things on our menu. So they're a little weary, and to be able to go up to that person and after they've had a few bites of food and say, well, what do you think? And to hear their rave reactions, that's the juice for me of restaurateuring. So
it makes it worth it. Now tell us about the food, because your food is really the starring role, and your food has a rich history.
It does have a rich history, and we're very proud of it. Basically, the owner of the original restaurant, Nick Shams, he was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago. When he was diagnosed, he decided that rather than do traditional therapy, that he was going to heal himself. So he decided to change his diet, change his exercise habits. His family was terrified; they thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
But sure enough, a couple of years later, he was cancer-free. And,
oh my goodness.
we don't know how much of it is really due to the diet or not, but he's a big believer that the diet had a big part to play in it. So realizing also after that scare that life is short, he decided that he was going to try to get out there and live life the way he's always wanted to. So he's always wanted to own his own restaurant. So he finally opened one and based the menu off of the types of food that he would eat while he was sick.
Wow.
So we incorporate a lot of things like zucchini noodles, a lot of quinoa, a lot of fresh vegetables and things like that into pretty much all of our meals.
Wow. So you guys are a healing facility. I can eat here every day.
Well, we'd
and I'm
like
gonna
to
be
think of
healing.
ourselves. We'd like to think of ourselves that way, but definitely we're very proud of the fact that our entire food. When you're talking about going out to eat, our entire menu is pretty much you could consider healthy. So that's a big thing to say. Instead of having the little box in the corner where you have like 6 items that you can choose from if you want a low carb or whatever, you can have our entire menu still. If you're vegetarian, no problem. Vegan, no problem. Gluten free, whatever type of dietary restrictions you have, you can still pretty much have anything on our menu, and we can just adjust it to your needs. So it's really a sense of pride.
And it doesn't. It's not just grains and grass.
Right.
It's not. It's really very tasty
Cooked food, yeah.
And so when people taste it, they're really surprised because they look at the menu outside and they're kind of tentative when they come in. And as he says, their faces light up. It's like, whoa, this is really good.
This is some good grub.
Yes.
Okay, so now
and
tell
it's
me.
very filling.
I was going to say, tell me about some of your menu items because you said you put a twist on maybe people who think they know Mediterranean. You even put a twist on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for example, we have things like Mediterranean burritos where we use a whole wheat tortilla. Instead of rice, we use couscous. Or if you're not partial to couscous, if you'd like to stay gluten-free, we have gluten-free tortillas and we use quinoa in there. And then we put in your choice of meat. We've got chicken, we have steak, we have lamb, we have salmon, we have shrimp. So you can have your burrito with any of those things. And then it comes with sauteed vegetables and the side, our creamy garlic tahini sauce. So you have the Mediterranean in there, but obviously you've also got some things in there that make it very unique in the way that it's served.
You had me at lamb and tahini. So what would a girl who loves lamb, what would you recommend for me?
For a girl who loves lamb, I would highly recommend the shawarma plate. The shawarma plate is a nice big portion of the shaved shawarma meat. You have a side of sauce, you've got a pita on the side, and a cup of the side salad, or a cup of soup. Our soups are phenomenal. Everybody gets hooked on our soups. Even in the summertime, people come in wanting specific soups.
That is awesome.
We've had a couple teenagers.
Yeah, so definitely
Just
try out.
really
Right.
like
So
this.
definitely try the shawarma plate, the shawarma wrap. We also have chicken shawarma. So if you don't happen to be a fan of lamb, we have chicken shawarma that is actually just as flavorful as the lamb as well. So again, yeah, we've got all the Mediterranean ingredients, but we put it together in a really different way. We have Mediterranean nachos that instead of corn chips, we use garbanzo chips. We have a salmon piccata that if you're gluten free, you can have a salmon piccata over zucchini noodles.
Wow, that sounds so good.
I spoke with one of the cooks recently, and he said, "I've been here 4 months, and eating this food, I've lost 10 pounds."
Wow. Oh, that's amazing.
Because again, the food is so wonderful, and one of the main things that we use for cooking the food is olive oil.
Right.
So all healthy, the way you're cooking. So as far as venturing out on your own, obviously you have everything here to show the pedigree for owning a restaurant, but actually going through with it, it had to be a little scary. Tell me about that process and deciding to take out a loan and make this a reality.
Absolutely. Well, I think it was terrifying is a good word to encapsulate it, but it turned out to be a fantastic experience, one that I would never trade for anything. Of course, it was terrifying to really have to consider the fact that, wow, we're going to ask for this massive loan, and we got to make this work.
Yeah.
But of course, we believed in our product. But this being our first time starting our own business, we had no idea on where to start. So that's where the U was incredibly helpful because they were really our roadmap to how to get our business from out of our heads and actually onto the streets here in Sugar House.
Yeah.
They were our most critical roadmap because actually a lot of the things that the U required were things that as a business owner we really needed to know anyway. So it was a great roadmap to find out things that like, hey, I don't know about that. I've never thought about that, but that's something that I obviously need to know. So it was a great way to get into owning your own business with somebody who or an institution who was able to actually hold your hand. And what was great too is they didn't just hold our hand until we got our loan and then said bye. Chris, our loan officer, has been there every day for the months since we've been open. For whatever questions that we have, he's been incredibly supportive.
And he's even come here to eat.
Right, he's come here to eat, support us in that way too. So of course we appreciate that. But you know, we were just really impressed with how thorough and how helpful everybody was along the whole process. It really made opening a business a whole lot less scary.
Yeah. Angela, you were saying they were offering you a little bit of therapy along the way, which is interesting.
They're very consoling as well.
Yeah, it was very, very, you know, it felt like he was holding my hand along the way. And even when I called him and I would express doubts, he would, you know, calm me down. It's like, okay, you know, so-and-so had the same problem, you're good. So it was very, very reassuring, so easy. I can't say enough about Chris Higbee. I just can't.
That's awesome. I found that a lot of times in talking to these business owners, that the University Credit Union guys, they have become therapists in many different versions, either marriage therapists or like counseling in general for the experience of taking on something so big. Well, congratulations for making this a reality. What advice would you give somebody coming up who would be interested in owning their own thing, whether it be a restaurant or anything at all?
I would say make sure your heart is really in it. And then once you know that for sure and that's exactly what you want to do, don't ever give up. Make sure you have the stamina to stick with it no matter what, because it can get really tough at times. You'll feel like you're way over your head, but ultimately it's obviously very rewarding.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. I'm so glad you're here in Sugar House. I can't wait to eat. I'm definitely going to go get me some lamb shawarma. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back on Talk365. But I'm taking these guys and I'm going to go eat. Get in here, guys. This is amazing.